night, people. What a night, people. I do apologise. I apologise sincerely on behalf of myself and the 1894 gentleman that we are half an hour late. I agreed that we would do this stream. I didn't want to miss this stream, people. I didn't want to miss this stream on the basis that, you know what? When you gas up your team to win a big game like that and it doesn't go your way, you have to stand up and face the music. Wake up and smell the coffee. Need to face the people and tell you what I think of that game. But we are late because I was on the Big Six there. I know a lot of you or some of you come over from the Big Six. And as always, thank you for coming over. Make sure you smash the like button. There's about 15, 20 people in the building right now. Only about 10 likes. Get the likes up. Get more people in here and hit the subscribe button. We're 89 subscribers away from the big 4K, people. Come on. Get them up. But listen, like I said, we need to face the music. We need to have a conversation about City versus Liverpool. And you saw Mbappe in the title there. There was some news about Mbappe from Manchester Evening News. We'll talk a little bit about that as well tonight. I don't see why not. Mbappe is an interesting character. A lot of personality there worth talking about. But listen, lads, I've just done a review on the Big Six there, and it's safe to say they got what they wanted. They got to gun me down. They got to cook me. They got to grill me. I'm sure those of you who watched the Big Six would have seen Skullthuggery's little edit he made. He got me good, and they got to grill me. They got their reactions. They got me rattled a little bit. I won't even lie. But listen, this is my own safe space now. This is my channel. This is our channel. I get to decide. I'm the captain now. I call the shots here. I decide what level of cooking and what level of honesty goes on this channel. We can swing this to make it, look our way. But listen, like I said, it wasn't our day, lads. It wasn't our day. We may as well get straight into it. I think I predicted a 3-0 or a 3-1. I don't know what you guys predicted, but listen, what are we thinking? May as well start with you, Joe. Break it down for me. What are you saying?
I think the best thing I can do to describe this game is just look at the team sheet that's on the screen right now. I know it's flicking through every now and then, but Kevin De Bruyne, right wing. I mean, so what the fuck? I'm completely baffled. It says it in the title. Pep has, what did I say? He got it wrong. He did get it wrong. I think we can all unanimously agree that the man is human and he got it wrong again. It's something about big games where he just feels the need to tinker, feels the need to change things when he probably doesn't need to. Like, I think when we all saw the 11, we thought, right, Grealish has been taken out, not too happy about it, but it is what it is. Bernardo Silva on the right wing, he has performed there this season. Foden out on the left, he hasn't been necessarily as good there, but it is what it is. Absolutely not. You got Kevin De Bruyne playing right wing, a position which he hasn't played in years, and basically the game plan's gone out the window. We've played a system that we have never played, again, in years. It's been years since we've played like this. It's been years since we played like this. He messed around with the back four.
I think it's been years.
It has. It's been years. It's also been years since we've won at Anfield, funnily enough. It's just a complete and utter clusterfuck. There's so many things that went wrong. He messed with the back four. Again, he messed with the front three. I think Grealish should have started. I said in the preview, if he didn't start, then he probably won't see the pitch because he's not an impactful player off the bench. He's not going to come and get you a goal or an assist. He's a player that needs to start games. It just didn't work, essentially, and it's big game syndrome, really, isn't it? It's the bane of our existence, especially when it comes to European football, where he'll just go and he'll whack out a team. He'll do something weird. He will literally just he'll tinker with it, trying to be perfect, and it will backfire more often than not. I don't know what it is. I mean, we spoke about the players having to be mentally prepared to go and win at Anfield. The manager is almost too mentally prepared to go and win. He's willing to do more than he should in a big game. And it didn't work. It's backfired. But if it works, he looks like a genius. So, you can't really criticise him too much. I think the blame is 50-50. Half of it goes to Pep because I just wasn't completely happy with the way that we set up. The other half, unfortunately, has to fall on the shoulders of one man, and that is João Cancelo. His mistake cost us a point in the end. His mistake cost us the game. We could speak about the officiating. I don't really want to dwell on it too much. I didn't think it was too bad, to be honest. I do want to touch on the goal a little bit that we scored, in which I understand why it's been disallowed, but at the same time, I'm annoyed that it's been disallowed. I think if you look at the incident for the goal that we had disallowed, the Foden goal, I think if you look at it just as itself, just as the incident, as a a lone incident in the game, you can look at that and go, right, it's probably a foul. You should probably disallow that. I think it's a foul. But given the context of the game, given the context of the way the game was officiated throughout, and even after the goal, the way it was continued to be officiated, the referee was letting stuff like that go all across the pitch. I mean, Bernardo Silva and Pep, they both said that after the game, that the ref was letting the game flow. He was letting players have little nibbles and shirt tugs and pulling players back. He was letting that happen, which I quite like to see, to be honest. I think that it's a contact sport. But then it comes to the goal and then it's just a complete 180. It's like a little bit of contact and they've, any reason to disallow that. If there was any reason at all, it was going to get chalked off. And I think that's the main problem people have with the goal being disallowed. If you look at it as an isolated incident, you'd probably say it's a foul, but given the context of the game, I don't think he really should be given that. But again, I also said that if it was close, we weren't going to win it because we probably wouldn't be that good if it was close, because we genuinely should have gone and tonked them. But we didn't, so I can't be too annoyed. We've lost now. It's about how we bounce back. I know Arsenal's been postponed, so we don't have a game till the weekend, but that's it. It's just how you bounce back. Arsenal got a 4-point lead. You just got to see what you can do from there.
I suppose you do. As much as I don't like to do it, you do have to give some credit to Liverpool. I mean, they had to. They really, really had to bring it yesterday afternoon. It was do or die for Liverpool yesterday. It was a case of if they get trounced by us 4-0, as I'm not gonna lie, I was, and many other people were expecting. Now I will admit that I was aware of the Anfield hoodoo, and I got absolutely grilled for that there in the Big Six just there. Apparently I didn't show enough respect to Anfield in the week leading up to it. Sorry for disrespecting Anfield, but I had every right, and we had every right as a fan base to feel at least confident, that we can go in and win there and break this Anfield hoodoo, especially with the full crowd. I know we beat them 4-1 there, but there's nobody there. But we had every right to go in and feel like, we can at least beat them. And if things go really our way, it could get ugly for Liverpool. So for them, like I said, it was do or die. If they got battered by us, it was curtains. It was really curtains for them for the season, because that would have been too many drop points, too many big games where they didn't turn up, and the whole psychology of Liverpool Football Club and their team and the manager. I'm not saying that he would have lost the dressing room, Klopp, but what I'm saying is it would have been very hard for him to get them back up and competing with the likes of Arsenal and City and even Chelsea, who are motoring right now. But for us, it wasn't a desperate time. Obviously, like I said, you want to win. When every Premier League game, any game, you want to win. But particularly this one, we wanted to win it. But we also knew that we've been in these positions before, people. We've gone to Tottenham and lost. We've gone to Anfield and lost. We've dropped points at Palace. We've dropped points at Southampton. This season, we've dropped points at Villa and Newcastle. But we know fine well, there's no medals, there's no trophies handed out in September, October. It's, can you keep yourself up around the top end of the table into the business end of the season and then click into gear? Who can do it in March, April, May? Who can, I'm not saying you need to be top of the league by December, January, because you don't. We've proved it. We've been behind teams. Chelsea were ahead of us in the league this time at Christmas last year, and we still went on to win it. They completely collapsed. I'm not saying that'll happen to Arsenal, but all I'm saying is we have years of proving that when it comes to the business end of the season, we know how to click into gear. So am I devastated at yesterday's loss? No. Am I disappointed with the performance? No. I'm actually not. I'm weirdly not sitting here going, fuck's sake, we were crap, or this wasn't good enough. This is football, people. Things will go your way, things won't go your way. Just because Haaland has been motoring all season doesn't mean we were going to absolutely batter Liverpool. Things happen. You have off days. I thought for some parts of yesterday's game we played very well. All we were lacking was putting the ball in the back of the net. On the Big Six, they said that Van Dijk and Gomez and Liverpool were just unbelievable and they hit a new level. I agree that Liverpool's defence was very good yesterday. Big up Joe Gomez. I thought he was really good. Joe Gomez was one of his best performances I've seen in a long, long time for Liverpool. He really upped his levels. Van Dijk looked a lot better as well. But we didn't exactly have no chances. I mean, if you remember correctly, Haaland missed from point blank from a header. He should have gone across the goal and definitely aimed lower. Granted, he was kind of moving backwards, so it's a tough one. But Haaland also had a shot that he kind of slipped as he was hitting it. If he puts that further towards the post, I think Alisson might struggle to reach it. Not saying he wouldn't have got it, but he might struggle. We had things that if they went our way and worked in our favour, which, like I said, it's just football. They won't always go in your way. If they went our way, the whole dynamic of the game would have changed. And we have to keep going back to that goal we did score. I do agree with what you're saying. I said this in the Big Six in the last hour. I said, as far as the rules go, and as far as as fouls go in modern day football, it probably is a foul, and you give it as a foul. But you're right when you say in the context of the game and the way Anthony Taylor tried to let the game flow, it's not, because he let far worse challenges go aside or whatever way you want to call it. So I was disappointed. Like, it's just because that one finished in a goal. The goal doesn't stand. Is that the way it is? And people are saying it should have been a corner. Different phase of play. It doesn't really matter. If you ask me. And foul on Alisson. Well, why didn't they check the foul on Alisson? Why did they go straight for the Ederson Fabinho thing? You know, it's these things. But that's football, people. You can't rely on everything to go your way all the time. We've had a fair share of luck ourselves over the years. I think it's fair to say. And like I said, maybe Liverpool wanted it that bit more. I don't know, Revel. You can say what you think now in a sec. But maybe they wanted that bit more. They showed far more energy and character than they have done for a long time. Definitely, probably since the Champions League final, the Real Madrid that they lost. This was the most Klopp's Liverpool-esque they've looked in a long time. And it's for them, it's just, can they build off this? Can they go into their game next week? I know they've got West Ham on Wednesday in Anfield as well. Won't be a particularly easy game. Can they build on it? But for us, it's just about dusting ourselves down, Rebel, and going again.
Yeah, 100%. I was very confident. I was talking big game. I'm sure everyone in the previous saw I was talking big fucking game. I mentioned the idea of Gundogan starting. I mentioned that there could be something, a little curveball thrown like that. I didn't expect the Burnley to end up on the right, but here we are. It was really like he went out and we were playing much more conservative than we usually would. We're kind of not sitting back, but we weren't going for the throat nearly as much, and that disappointed me, to be honest with you. That it really did disappoint me. I thought, funny enough, I know you'll like this point, not having Grealish in really harmed us. I think Milner, like as good as I thought Foden was, I thought he was one of the better players, but he didn't run at Milner nearly as much as I would have liked him to. Whereas Grealish, you do get that. You get him going in, you have someone overlapping him. Ake, again, was starting on the left, a left footer would have had him overlapping. It would have been fine. I think he was mad to drop him. And again, I like to think we back Grealish a lot on this channel, you in particular, but I think we as a whole, we do back Grealish. We're backing him to start. So when he didn't come out, when it came out that he wasn't starting, it was a really big disappointment. And I think I even said it to the fella I was working with, I got that could end the par with us. But I was so confident. No, the team's good enough that we went out and we could have won. You know, we probably should have won. I have to echo your thoughts on the goal. The goal, it's one of those where it is a foul, but those fouls were going all game. You even saw it afterwards. You saw when Klopp got sent off, when fucking Bernardo was reefing out Salah. He let that run. Like, that's a foul. I'm not going to lie, that is a foul. But why is that not been given? And why are the thousands of other challenges like that during the game not been given? But just because there's a goal, it gets given, and you had to bring it back about half a minute for it to go on as well. I thought it was mental. If it got ruled out for the Alisson thing, I think that's fine. But at the same time, I remember even Gary Neville saying, he said that he doesn't think Alisson has full control of it. They just had to go back. Anfield, you were talking as well, Maurice, saying that people in the Big Six were saying, "Oh, you didn't respect the Anfield." Would you ever fucking give over? Come on, like come on. It's a stadium. There's a lot of people in there. Those people were there flinging fucking coins and smashing up buses. Like,
let's not do that one. Let's not do
that. I'll leave that point, but I do have something that I want to continue with, in the sense of referees are intimidated by Anfield. There's a lot of decisions over the last few years that have gone against us. Even in the game that we've won, we had decisions go against us in that game. Thiago, like this game, probably should have been sent off. Salah got a penalty in that game. Definitely wasn't a penalty. But, you know, I think I have to come around to the point again. These are games we are used to losing. These are games we are used to going and dropping points in. Tottenham's no different. We're going to bounce back. And that game hasn't even slightly shook me in my confidence of winning the league. I'm sorry, it hasn't.
On the Anfield hoodoo thing, there's people seem to be getting it twisted that last week I was just completely disregarding Anfield as a stadium, and I disagree with you slightly on that. I think there definitely is an Anfield hoodoo. There definitely is a thing about us when we go there. We just completely freeze. Maybe completely freeze is the wrong way to say it. I don't think we completely froze yesterday. But it definitely adds something to our game that isn't welcomed, if you like. It just does something. I don't know what it is. I mean, City fans who go to the ground, who were at the game yesterday, will tell you there's just a feeling in the air. It just gets to us or something. I don't know what it is. And I said this all of last week. Yes, I predicted 3-1 or 3-0, whatever it was. But I still made it clear that I feel Liverpool's best chance of getting a result against us is if that Anfield hoodoo or monkey in our back comes into play and comes into effect. And I think to a certain extent it did. Some players it freaked out a little bit. It took away a couple % off our game that maybe would have got us over the line in other situations. And I think Pep did miss a trick with Jack Grealish. And this, people, I want you to understand, this isn't me explaining my blind loyalty to Jack Grealish, which I know a lot of you believe I have. I do have a blind loyalty to Jack Grealish, but if you don't believe that Jack Grealish could have had a massive impact on yesterday's game, you weren't watching yesterday's game. Rebel was spot on when he said that Phil Foden was not attacking James Milner enough. He wasn't putting Milner under enough one-on-one pressure, if you like. I do have to give credit to James Milner. I thought for a 37-year-old, he didn't look out of place. He was really, really good. He brought the energy. He was good going forward. And the defending he did have to do, he did very efficiently. James Milner, excellent. Liverpool as a collective unit yesterday were all on one. They were all doing really well, but Grealish would have offered something that Foden wouldn't have. I love Bernardo Silva. I would have preferred no Gundogan at all. Bernardo in the middle, Foden on the right, and Grealish on the left. The exact same front three I've been singing and praising for months and months and months now. Grealish, Haaland, Foden. Why? Because they all offer completely different things. They really do, people. Grealish knows that Milner has the capacity to somewhat lose his head or get a bit over aggressive, and Grealish is one of the most fouled players in world football. If you don't think there was a potential red card for James Milner on the line there if Jack Grealish was playing, you're mad. And I also think it would have freaked him out a little bit. A 37-year-old James Milner up against pretty confident right now and coming into form, or at least on some sort of form, Jack Grealish, it would have given us another outlet. And dare I say it, even Riyad Mahrez might have given us something. I think the sub situation was just Pep being stubborn, and it definitely, he shot us in the foot a little bit, Pep, with his substitution, obviously only bringing on Alvarez in the 87th minute. Alvarez coming on in the 60th minute would have been a great decision. It would have given us something completely different. But listen, super chat here from Second City saying $5 Second City saying thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate your support. All support for the channel is massively welcomed. 30 people in the building. We don't ask for super chats ever. You know, I always say this, but when you do, it means the world to us. It really does. But listen, if you don't want a super chat, just hit the like button. Just subscribe to the channel. It's all massively appreciated. All love massively appreciated. Second City saying says Liverpool should get a 12-point deduction for attacking our team bus again. Listen, there's the minority of football fans who partake in these criminal activities, essentially, you know, vandalizing buses, throwing coins. What I will say is, not just for Liverpool, not just for City, for football fans in general, they don't represent the entire fan base. I will say every single football club has their own element of idiots, absolute idiots. There were idiots in the City end yesterday singing chants that they shouldn't be singing. There was idiots in the Liverpool end doing things they shouldn't have been doing. It's part of football, but they want us to give them airtime. They want us to talk about these things because it just makes it more prolific and more, you know, gives them more airtime. I don't want to talk about it too much. They don't represent us, the regular match day going fan, or the people who talk about it online. They don't represent us. This is a toxic thing that is not welcomed in football, but unfortunately it seems to be part and parcel, and there isn't a huge amount you can do about it right now. But listen, don't let that take away from a great game of football. It was a fantastic game of football. We just didn't come out on top. I'm going to read out some of your comments here right now and see what some of you people are saying. A lot of as we were chatting here for the last few minutes, I was reading some of your chats. A lot of very interesting takes. We're going to get into them. But like I said, keep hitting the like button, 32 in the building, and subscribe to the channel. We're about 85 subscribers away from the big 4K, getting really close to 4K. I think when we hit 4K, we'll do a special stream, maybe a bit of a small party celebration, whatever you want to do. We'll do something nice when we hit 4K. So help us on that road to 4K. Maybe we'll do something whereby we can get you guys to come in and join the Discord, and you can join one of our chats and you can chat to us live. We'll do something. We'll get you guys involved. There's plenty of things we can do. Maybe actually before I do that, Joe, if you would, or one of you if you would, stick the link for our Discord server. While there's a fair few people here, we have a Discord server, myself, Joe and Dara, Luke, everybody who's involved. One big group chat there. It's free to join. We're always talking about City. We're always talking about football. Great group of lads. And then if we do call-in shows or things where you guys get involved, that's where you'll get involved. That's your best place to get a hold of us. Good morning, says Stacey. Good to see you, Stacey. I don't know. I think, is Stacey Australian? Because I think her time zone is completely different to ours. Dennis, I'm not going to say I don't want Mbappe. We'll get on to Mbappe, Dennis. I promise you. D1 Millie, good to see you, my bro. He says, my bro Hugh. Caribbean Massive Kerwin. Rust says, to be fair, if I saw that Pep was going to set up and play like that before the game, I think I would have been much less optimistic. My optimism was damaged when I saw Liverpool's lineup the most. It's not that I was disappointed Grealish didn't start and I was like, this is going to really affect us, because I had full faith in Bernardo. It was more when I saw Núñez wasn't starting, I knew Salah was going to get more of a free roaming role to go across the front three, and that's essentially what he did. Salah had the license to move into the middle, cause problems, and Salah was on smoke yesterday. I had a great conversation or debate about Salah on the Big Six. I'm sure some of you saw that there, about whether he's world class or not and that kind of thing. But he caused serious problems yesterday, Salah. And when I saw Núñez wasn't playing, Salah was playing, Firmino was playing, I knew that Liverpool were going to be a bit more of a handful than I thought they would. I thought if Núñez was starting, it might nullify Salah a little bit just by default. But listen, it's not the way it worked out. Luke, we didn't play bad. It was just one mistake that cost us, which is fine. Fine margins, but that's big games for you. It is what it is. Anfield out of the way, on to Brighton. I'm glad the Anfield fixture, lads. I don't know how you feel. I'm just glad it's out of the way now. I'd much rather play Anfield now, lose 1-0, than play Anfield at the start of May or mid-April and lose 1-0. What do you reckon?
100%. I think that's kind of been in the years we've won the league. I think, and even in the one that Liverpool won, we were playing Anfield first, and we always kind of got out of the way. Like October and November time, it would always be out of the way, which would mean we have Fortress de la Etihad to go back to, and we'd very rarely drop points then. So I'd rather have, I know this could be a bit redundant to be saying, but I'd much rather, if we have Liverpool in the running, I would 100% rather have them at home. I'm delighted that's out of the way, but it's still, it's again checked out, but we still have to go to, will we say, as difficult places in the last few years, like Tottenham Stadium. Still have Monday. I don't think we've scored a fucking goal there.
We have Tottenham away in February, I want to say. February?
We were meant to play them at home, weren't we? You were meant to go at home.
Yeah, I think it's February, March. We have Tottenham away.
Fantastic.
D1 Millie says, question for Hugh. What do you think the reason was why Jack Grealish didn't get used at all? You know what, D1 Millie, if I had the answer to that, I'd be a millionaire, because I'd know what goes on in Pep Guardiola's head. But the thing is, what Joe said is absolutely true, is that if you don't start Grealish, he's probably not going to play, or at least he won't have the impact that you would like. Grealish is not an impact sub. He's not an impact sub. He's a player that needs to start from the first minute and sometimes grow into the game and just get a feel for it straight away, because that's the kind of player he is. He's not one of these players like, I don't know, who do we have that's a great impact sub or comes on and can work one.
The man who started instead of him.
Yeah. Absolutely, there you go. Gundogan is great impact sub, but he can come on and score goals and make things happen. Grealish isn't that player, D1 Millie, so I was disappointed he didn't start. I thought this was a great game, great opportunity, and on paper at the time, diminished Liverpool backline was perfect for Jack Grealish to be aggressive and run at. But Pep felt otherwise, and Pep's the boss. The Mad Hatter. But Hugh, Pep's stubbornness helped Liverpool. He refused to change personnel when we should have. No, Grealish was sickening. You're right, man. Pep is stubborn, and it's what makes him so good, but it can also be his downfall at times. Pep being so stubborn and believing in his own ideologies and philosophies is the reason that we've got so much success over the years. But in these one-off games, Spurs Champions League, Spurs home and away in the Premier League, Liverpool at Anfield, Southampton last season, these fixtures sometimes, Pep's little tweaks, Champions League final, they do shoot us in the foot. There's no denying that. But would I change it for the world? No, absolutely not. Give me Pep and all his stubbornness. I trust the guy no matter what. I still have full faith and I still have full trust that come May, we will have another Premier League trophy parade around Manchester. I don't think this is going to upset our title run at all. Dr. Footy, we played all right, but the defensive position and defensive tactics was UCL final-esque from Pep. I don't think it was as bad as the Champions League final. I think we played better yesterday, lads, than we did in the Champions League final. It just came down to one moment, didn't it, yesterday? I think in the Champions League final, we never had a grip of the game, whereas yesterday we did have a grip of the game. And it just came down to that Cancelo moment. And I said in the Big Six that it's just unfortunate for Cancelo, because that's not his game. His game isn't those one-on-one defensive battles. And I know I've bigged up Cancelo for weeks now, saying I believe he's the best fullback in the world. I still do, because of his output and what he offers. But I still was honest enough to admit that there's question marks over his defensive ability. If that had been Kyle Walker in that one-on-one situation with Salah, a battle of muscle, a battle of strength, and a battle of defensive experience, just knowing what to do in that situation, I feel Kyle Walker handles that situation perfectly, and it at least stalls Salah enough to the point where we can filter back and get our defensive shape, whereas Cancelo completely lost the physical battle. Salah rolled him. Salah's through on goal. Salah doesn't really miss those, does he? So for Cancelo, I feel bad for him, because he's the culprit who had to put his hand up and take the blame there. But it's these fine margins, man, and these big games, these fixtures that are like the Liverpool City fixtures. They're a level of intensity above any other Premier League fixture, and they will come down to these fine margins, these one-off moments like we've seen over the years, like that amazing Salah goal last year in Anfield, I believe it was. He skinned Cancelo and 2 or 3 others. That was just a one-off freak moment. You can't predict these things, you can't legislate for them, but listen, Cancelo, it hasn't changed my opinion on him. I still believe right now he's the best fullback in the world. That's fit anyway. I know Reece James is injured. There's probably a bit more of a debate there. Dr. 40 Sky Blue, Mbappe. We're gonna get on to Mbappe, people. Don't worry. We're gonna. There's so many chats here, by the way. I probably won't get to read them all. I'll be here all night. But we'll keep getting your thoughts in. I know some people disagree with your player ratings, Joe. Do you want to maybe run through some of your player ratings and explain why you chose them? As always, people, if you don't agree with our player ratings, blame him. Blame the guy below me. He does the player ratings, not me, not Rebel. Always shoot for him. So explain yourself.
It used to be us.
It used to be a democratic thing. Now it's just a dictatorship.
Now we've got the dictator. We've got the dictator running it now.
Joe's
I
the
am the
dictator, man.
captain.
Tell us why you made some of those ratings, Joe.
Right. Well, essentially, hold on. I'm actually going to stop it on screen so just I can run through them. Hold on. Give me a second. Oh, that's the wrong
Is that
button.
sparkling water?
It sure fucking is.
You do give over.
Cheers. Cheers, people.
Yeah, that's a disgrace.
Premier League champions 2 years in a row. We lose one game. There's no crisis here. Cheers.
Oh,
I think there is a crisis. You're drinking sparkling water, my friend.
Anyway, right.
This is what having an oil money club looks like. When your club has loads of money, you drink sparkling water. None of that still stuff. That's what they drink over in Stretford, in the Stretford end over in Manchester United. They drink that still stuff straight out of a tap. It's not even bottled. Us here at Manchester City, with our big cash, we drink the sparkling city. That's what we are.
No, we
Sparkling.
fucking don't. We don't claim you.
Still water. I'm a big fan of still water, you know. I think it just hits that spot when you're thirsty, you know.
We don't claim this game as
Big
a
fan
drinking
of still water.
sparkling.
Respect my sparkling water, fan.
Go on, Joe.
Right. Okay. Well, the 2 most obvious ones I don't want to start with, or 3 actually. Bernardo Silva and Rodri, they both got an 8. They were our 2 best players, I thought. Again, but the Bernardo Silva thing just hits home how Pep has just shoehorned Gundogan into this side. We saw it in the Champions League final. He shoehorned Sterling in, he put Gundogan as a defensive midfielder, and it didn't work. He shoehorned Gundogan in, which means he had to put someone else in a different position that they weren't used to. But because he didn't want to take Bernardo Silva out the midfield because he felt like he wanted his energy in his defensive work, which again, like he was still playing DM like he normally does, that meant De Bruyne was essentially the sacrificial lamb in this formation, and he had to go out wide on the right again. We initially signed him to play in that sort of role, but it's been years since he's been there. But I thought Bernardo for me was man of the match. Rodri, it was close. It was close again. Rodri doing absolutely everything, proving that he's the best in his position. And the third, obviously the most obvious one, the third one, Cancelo was a 5. I could have given him a 4. I know Manchester Evening News gave him a 4, but I gave him a 5 because defensively he was always caught high up the pitch. He was always caught so high up. He was practically a winger. But the mistake cost a goal. He did the same thing, but with Darwin. Thank God it was with Darwin Núñez because that fella cannot kick a football. But he did the same thing literally like 5 minutes later, which almost cost us 2-0. His last 20 minutes were shocking. His last 20 minutes were awful, and it just didn't work. I don't think that the tactical setup worked either. It was put on the right when, mainly he's been operating on the left. We saw what happened against Southampton. He was man of the match, playing on the left practically as a left winger. So I don't understand what's going on there. Why are you moving him about? I thought Akanji could have, again, he shouldn't have been if it would have happened, but he could have been sent off. He was on a yellow card and he started trying to pull someone down on a yellow card, which is always risky. I thought it's probably the poorest game he's had. It wasn't dreadful.
Can I cut in across there, Joe? Apologies. I want to have a little conversation about Akanji. People are telling me Akanji was just brutal and he got rings run around him. I agree what you're saying. It's probably his worst performance in the City shirt, but his standard level has been pretty fucking high since he's arrived. So it's a slight drop off. Was he brutal yesterday? No, not at all. Did any of his mistakes or losses in terms of one-on-ones or 50-50s lead to a goal? No, he had no calamities or disasters. Did he put a little bit of respect on Akanji's name and not just jump the ship and say, oh, he's not good enough, or he was brutal yesterday. He's been exposed for the fraud he is. The guy who's playing at the highest level he's probably ever played at in his life yesterday, having just arrived to a new club, started off very well. I don't think he was as bad as people are making him out to be. I want to get that point across. I think a 6 is a fair rating that you gave him, Joe, but I want people to realise that Akanji was not as bad as some of the panelists in the Big Six are making him out to be. They were saying Jota had him on toast. He looked all over the place. Jota was very good yesterday, and Jota did have the better of Akanji at times. But did Akanji make some good challenges? Was his positioning good for a large part of the game? Yes, it was. He was not a complete disaster. Do I think we have other players that could have done a better job than him? Maybe just a fully fit Kyle Walker, and maybe a fully fit John Stones too. But he didn't make a fool of himself, Akanji. I don't know. It's a harsh one.
I can interject there. I tell you what I think it is, right? I think there's a lot of people who are dead insecure about the fact that he'd walk into that team.
I agree. I think there's a lot of rival fans out there are going, how the fuck did Manchester City get a guy this good for 15 million while we're out here paying 80 million for the likes of Maguire, 50 million for the likes of Wan-Bissaka, fucking our top center or our top right full back in the world, Trent, allegedly is playing absolute muck right now, and this guy Akanji is doing quite decent for City, and they only cost 15 million. That's going to rile a lot of people up. Understandable. You're not built like us. You can't recruit like us. You don't have scouts like us. That's perfectly fine.
You can't spend all the Sheikh's money just like us. Am I right, Jurgen?
Yeah, exactly. Jurgen says we can't compete with Manchester City. Damn fucking right you can't. Because you're just not as good, mate. You're just not as good. You've built a good team. You've done very well. But the targets and the goals of both clubs are completely different. They're not the same. And James Redmond made this point last week, and he was absolutely correct. That the sole purpose or the main goal every year for Liverpool Football Club and FSG is to turn over revenue through commercial means, through Champions League qualification and getting to the rounds of the Champions League, through Premier League TV income. Whereas our goal every year, even though we do turn over a lot of revenue because the clubs run fantastically, the primary goal is to win silverware every single year. Speak to your owners, Jurgen. Say, why don't you move like City? Why don't you take a leaf out of Khaldoon's book? We don't even get money off the Sheikh anymore. People can say, oh, but the Sheikh laid these foundations. Yeah, of course he did. But the club is now self-sustaining. We're turning over such a profit every single year, and we're still in a net spend surplus, that we can bring in these top players. We can nourish these top players. We're making absolute fortunes off our academy players. We're bringing in top kids, making them top teenagers, and selling them on for 5 to 15 million each. And it all adds up. It all adds up, and people are going, where is City getting this money from? Look at us. Look at the way we operate, people. It's not just a case of whenever we want something or someone, the Sheikh whips out his checkbook and goes, how many zeros is it today? I will hold my hands up, and maybe at one point it was, but that was so we could get to where we are right now. Nowadays, we're moving differently. So for Klopp to come out and start saying we can't compete with them, have a word. Have a word with, what's that fella called who runs Liverpool, the top guy in FSG?
John Henry.
Yeah, John Henry. Have a chat with him, Klopp, and say, maybe we could change the way we operate a little bit. There's no fucking denying Liverpool Football Club turns over a massive amount of money every year. A colossal club in Liverpool, there's no denying that. A worldwide fan base, sell-out stadium every single week. I can admit all this, absolutely no problem. Colossal football club. They make a huge amount of money. We can't decide or dictate what they do with their money. We just do our thing. So don't, and I said this in the Big Six tonight, I was like, those comments from Klopp last week, those quotes, I felt, maybe it wasn't entirely, but some of it was to cover his arse, because Klopp might have been low-key expecting a hammering in Anfield on Sunday. So he was saying in the week before, we can't compete with City, we can't compete with them, so that the excuses are already there. He's laid the foundation of excuses for if Liverpool get battered. Well, I've already said we can't compete with them. But now that they've won, it's a case of, no, he wasn't making excuses. We beat you fair and square, blah, blah, blah. Come on, man. Open your eyes and look at the facts, people. City are built and run differently. We have really smart people behind the scenes. And it's not our fault. And the thing is, that's football as well, people. That's football. Bournemouth can't compete with Villa. Villa can't compete with Arsenal and Liverpool. Klopp, words of Klopp, they can't compete with us. There's levels to it. It's never going to be a situation where all 20 teams in the Premier League have the exact same resources, the exact same strategies, the exact same academies, the exact same pulling power. It just doesn't happen. Football doesn't work that way. Am I talking bollocks? I don't think so, for a change.
I mean,
yeah, it's very rare you don't more.
Like, I don't understand. I don't understand people's fascination with this whole I can't compete. I mean, we spend more money than anyone else, but we also win more than anyone else. I don't understand. Club that wins more gets to spend more. Wow, unbelievable. I don't understand this. This is not right. I mean, it's not our fault that our board prioritizes actually winning trophies as a football club and your board prioritizes profit. That's not our problem. That's your problem. That's what you need to go talk to them. Don't talk to us. We're in a lucky position that our board have gone, you know what, we want to be a football club. We want to win trophies. We want to win everything. You see Khaldoon in his end of season press conferences. We're disappointed that we didn't win absolutely everything that was on offer. We're going for it next season. Everything. We want every single trophy possible. That is the aim. Whereas all the other clubs are like, hey, we'll get top four. We'll get a lot of money for that. Champions League money. Love that. You know, go again next season. Same thing again. If we win a trophy, good. If we don't, we still get money. You know, we still get paid. It's not our fault. I mean, net spend is a thing, but again, like, I don't know how many years it's been now since we stopped getting money just pumped in by the Sheikh. Like, that era's over. That doesn't happen anymore. He still technically owns the club, but he doesn't do anything. Like, he's just there. Man is just out here. We turn our own profits and we use that to go and sign players. There's this magical thing that we have £100 million worth in each position twice over. We have this great squad. We have one of the smallest squads out the whole top six. In terms of pure numbers, we have one of the smallest squads.
Look at our bench yesterday, Joe. You're spot on. There was 3 or 4 players in the bench. Wilson Esbrand, Rico Lewis, Cole Palmer, someone else. There was 3 or 4 players are from the academy and all extremely inexperienced. Like, it's the squad isn't as deep as people like to think, that we have 2 and 3, you know, 50 to 100 million pound players in each position. It isn't as black and white as that, but anyway, go on.
I mean, yeah, like, there's lots of narratives, isn't there? I mean, it's been debunked over the years, really, hasn't it, now that it's starting to come out, because that was the big thing, that City just go and they spend 50 million per position. You know, they have 2 starting 11s that can get top 4. We don't have 2 starting 11s that can get top 4. We don't have a second starting 11. That second starting 11 is 50% academy. Like, that doesn't get top 4. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, where, again, we have the quality. I think we have one of the best squads in terms of quality. We just don't have the numbers, and I think that people just need to give their heads a wobble. If you can't compete, then again, it's not our fault that your board operates like that. Like, it's you should be having a word. You should be writing emails or letters to the people on your board saying, fix up, change this. You know, it's like, we can't help that we've got a fantastic board and are one of the most well-run clubs right now in Europe, across the globe. Like, it's not our problem. We're just good. We're blessed to be in this situation, and football works in cycles, so it probably won't be like this forever. Like, it will probably not be like this forever. It'll probably be like this for a long time, because the foundations are there for this to just keep going on for a number of years, even post Pep. But, like, it's not going to carry on forever. I mean, look at United. Who would have thought that they would have stopped winning Premier Leagues? Who would have thought it would have been a decade since they won a Premier League?
And I know, man, there's so much hypocrisy and jealousy, but listen, there's nearly 50 people in the building with us right now. Do us a favor, if you would, make sure you've all smashed the like button. It helps us massively. It helps more people find the channel. We're less than 80 subs away from, or more, just over 80 subs away from 4K. We'd love to hit 4,000 subs as soon as possible, and all of your support massively helps us. Another super chat here from Second City saying, big up Second City, saying, what an absolute legend, mate. He says, Klopp is so full of shit. United have spent $1 billion plus and are nowhere near competing. Embarrassing loss, but now Klopp looks like a genius. Well, that's the thing. It's not just a case of, oh, Liverpool need to spend more money. I wasn't saying that either, because we've just seen it with Man United. Spending money doesn't translate to success. It's how you spend your money. I'm talking about the whole infrastructure of Manchester City Football Club when I say that we're built and run different. The people pulling the strings at our club know what they're doing. It's not just throwing cash at players you think are going to be a quick fix and putting paper over the cracks. Foundations are absolutely imperative at our football club. We're all about laying foundations for keeping going, building for the future, thinking about the next phase, even while we're successful. A well-run club and a smart manager thinks about, while they're on top, while they're winning trophies, thinks about keeping it going and replenishing and thinking about the next phase. What Liverpool didn't do was exactly that. When they did win their Premier League, when they did win their Champions League, credit them, they did that. Credit them, they got to a Champions League final last year. They did think about, how do we continue to compete with Manchester City? How do we think about the next phase? How do we get past this alleged 7-season syndrome with Klopp and prove it's not a thing? it's about how your club is run, and we have to attribute so much of our success to the people who do that. And does Klopp look like a genius right now? Maybe some people will say I don't think Klopp is a genius of a manager in the same way I would say it about Pep Guardiola. What Klopp is a fantastic motivator. He's one of these guys who, I'm sure if he's your manager and you're in a dressing room with him, he'll get you pumped before you walk out into the pitch. He'll get you pumped. He'll scream and shout, or I don't know what his tactics are. That's the way he operates. Klopp is a passion merchant, and it works for them, and it has done for a long, long time. Whereas Pep is a tactician. He thinks about football really deeply. He thinks about how everything's going to work, what way he wants to set up, where he thinks players should be, in a way that none of us would even understand. So in terms of Klopp, he got his team to a certain level yesterday. They played to an extreme intensity and pace, and it worked for them. Do I think that's sustainable for them right now with their injuries, their lack of squad depth, the age of their squad? They've gone from having just 2 or 3 years ago one of the youngest squads in England to now having, I think, the second or third oldest. No, I don't think it's sustaining. I still don't think there's a title charge there for Liverpool at all. But I think this yesterday should kick them on, and they will be hoping anyway that it'll be give them a massive boost in a top 4 race. Big up Second City saying, honestly, thanks a million for the super chat. There's another question here from D1 Millie. Q, one point I got to get in. I actually want to talk about this as well a little bit, lads. I want to get in is how did De Bruyne finish 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, but Sadio Mane got 2nd? Don't make sense at all. De Bruyne had to be 2nd. I don't think it's as black and white as that, lads. I think, yes, De Bruyne, because we won the Premier League and he was one of our best players. I don't think he even had one of his best seasons last year, De Bruyne, by any means. But Mane, he basically won Senegal the AFCON. He got them qualification for World Cup. Belgium did sweet fuck all last year. They got to a Champions League final. They were within a point to win the Premier League. Liverpool, or within a Gundogan goal of win the Premier League, and then they won 2 cups. So it's really, you could toss a coin and decide who gets 2nd place. Am I pissed off that Mane got it? No, I actually really like Sadio Mane. I think he's a terrific player. I don't think they'll go on to win the World Cup or anything like that, but they might cause an upset the World Cup. They've got a decent team. Lads, the Ballon d'Or, may as well touch on it quickly. Big up Benzema, massively deserved to win that Ballon d'Or. He was an absolute sicko last year. But if you want to touch on the 2nd and 3rd thing there between Mane and De Bruyne, fire away. But me personally,
favorite. Yes.
These individual awards, I don't particularly give a shit, people. I don't particularly give a shit. What odds does it make? Neither of them fucking won. It makes no odds. You get a podium place, that's fine. Yeah. No one was beating Benzema. I'm fine with De Bruyne not winning. I couldn't care less. Like you said, these individual awards are unbelievable. Like, everyone knew he was going to win. Carrying Benzema. Now, I didn't realise the ceremony was today. So when I was in work on Saturday, I checked the odds on what Benzema was when he was 1-33. It was written in stone that Kylian Benzema was going to win it, which is why nobody really cares who's coming 2nd or 3rd. Let's be honest. He deserved it 100%. He's a fantastic baller. He was great against us. He was great in the whole Champions League run. He was phenomenal. I think he scored 44 goals in 46 games. He's a monster. He won it deservedly, so I'm not here to take the piss out of it. But the Ballon d'Or in the last few years has gone from up there to go, right? No one really cares. I forgot it was on this year. Even the year before, I'm pretty sure they gave it to Messi over Lewandowski. And I'm not a big Lewandowski enjoyer. I think Lionel Messi is the greatest footballer to ever grace this planet, and there's never really anyone better than him at the time. But the fact he won that one over Lewandowski was a little bit strange. So I think the Ballon d'Or has lost credibility and will continue to lose credibility as the years go on, because it always favours a lot of players.
Clubs. Look at the Copper. Look at the, what was it? The Copper Trophy. Gavi won it. Gavi.
Yeah, who the fuck is Gavi? Come off it.
I'm sorry.
Fuck is Gavi? He's probably a good player. I've never seen him in my life.
The whole individual awards thing will become obsolete in the next few years, because they're constantly making new bullshit awards that, you know, never existed in the past and mean relatively nothing. Like City won Club of the Year. We only won the Premier League. Real Madrid won their league and the Champions League.
Club of the Year is a prestigious award.
I didn't even know they gave it out until today.
I'll take it. I'll take it. But I'm pretty sure this has been made up for this year. Striker of the Year award. Sorry, what? How is Lewandowski won Striker of the Year, but Benzema's won Ballon d'Or? It doesn't make any sense. Gavi's winning Copper Trophy even over Bellingham. Bellingham finishing what, 4th? I'm sorry. The whole thing about individual awards, it's a lot of bollocks. It means nothing. It will become again, it'll become obsolete in arguments over who's a better player. Simply because, I mean, look at our domestic league. Kevin De Bruyne winning, 3 Premier League Player of the Seasons in a row? Like, he was probably, at best, our third best player last season.
Yeah.
And people are saying third in the Ballon d'Or, he should have finished above Mane. He was, at best, the third best player that we had last season. Rodri and Bernardo Silva were just better than him last season. So individual awards, it means nothing. They respect stats, goals and assists. I mean, Grealish wasn't nominated. He's been fucking robbed. But they do, because Rodri wasn't even nominated. Why? Because he's a holding midfielder. He doesn't get stats. He doesn't do the flashy shit. But he was our best player last season. Like, individual awards, Van Dijk was the closest thing you ever had to, a defender winning it. Now you're never gonna get you've never had a goalkeeper win it. I don't think you're never gonna get. Yeah, shit. Okay, he's the only one. So you've had one goalkeeper win it.
White, by the way.
He played in black and white. That's how long ago it was. He won it when. Now I'm pretty sure this is right. He won it when South American players couldn't win it. When the Ballon d'Or was first made, you could only win it if you're a European player. And again, you're not going to get defenders, goalkeepers, defensive midfielders, just midfielders in general really come close to a Ballon d'Or when you've got players like Haaland scoring every single game. You've got players like Mbappe who finished 6th, and he looked absolutely fuming that he finished 6th as well, by the way. He genuinely looked absolutely horrified that he only finished 6th. He had Salah finishing 5th even though he was stinky for half of the season. Like, it makes no odds. I don't care. The history.
Do you know who was robbed? Do you know who was robbed and deserved that 5th place spot ahead of Salah? Vinicius.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Vinicius Junior deserves to be higher.
How Mohamed Salah snaked his way into top 5 after going missing from January onwards. Bear in mind, it's based on the whole calendar year, 2022. Salah played in the AFCON, which was at the start of 2022. Since then, he's been AWOL. Yes, he got a hat-trick against Rangers and he scored against us. Big up, well done, Salah, good man. But for 8-9 months, for 8-9 months, yeah, well done. For 8-9 months, Salah was missing. He was MIA, missing in action, nowhere to be seen. So how did he get ahead of some of the other players, first of all? But Vinicius deserved, I think, top 4. I think top 4 Vinicius. Champions League winner, absolutely integral for Real Madrid. Maybe deserved it more than Kevin De Bruyne for 2nd place, arguably, because Vinicius won the Liga, won Champions League. He was class in both competitions. De Bruyne, yes, he won the Premier League, but we all kind of agreed De Bruyne wasn't. He's lucky to be in our top 3 players of last season.
Like, that's the thing. They changed the Ballon d'Or because they never used to do the Ballon d'Or this early in October. I think that's kind of why people were like, oh shit, it's here already. They used to always do it sort of December because it used to be the best player over that calendar year. And if it was still based on that calendar year, Mo Salah would be nowhere near because he's been shit since January. But because it's based on the season, they changed it to be based on the season, which I don't understand. It makes no odds to me. I don't really care. But he had a quite good start to last season, which is the only reason why I can say he's that high. And he reached Champions League final. Again, Liverpool went on and almost won the Premier League. They won 2 domestic cups. Like, that's the only reason I can explain why he's that high. Otherwise, I have not a clue. It's, again, individual awards. They mean nothing. They favour certain clubs. Real Madrid, Barcelona, they usually get favoured in these sort of things because they are the established, they are the elite clubs. I don't care. Ballon d'Or, it's over for another year. I don't care, to be honest. City players never going to win it. Maybe Haaland. Maybe that's the best chance we've got now, but I don't care. Like, you can finish 2nd or 3rd. History will always remember the winner. They're not going to remember who finished 3rd in the Ballon d'Or like a few years on from now, are they? They don't care.
Ballon snore, because nobody fucking cares.
I'll tell you something though, boys. If Mbappe, let's say Mbappe had gone to Real Madrid, he ends up getting top 3. Yeah. It just comes with
joining Real Madrid.
Probably.
Yeah.
Felipe says, should have been Benzema, Mane, Vinicius, De Bruyne. I think Mane definitely gets over those other 2 because of the achievements with Senegal. Vinicius definitely deserves top 3. I think, and that's, I hate to say it because De Bruyne is a City player, but Vinicius was exceptional last year, wasn't he? Listen, we may as well touch on big man Mbappe. Like I said, Manchester Evening News. I'll read out the report. I think I quote tweeted it myself earlier on. While I'm doing that, all of you getting your thoughts, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Kylian Mbappe to Manchester City. Do we want it? Do we want big man Mbappe playing beside Haaland? I think he'd be a good bench player for Grealish. You know what I mean? He'd keep the bench warm for Grealish. I think he'd do. You know, he could bring the water on when Grealish is a bit thirsty. He could bring on a fresh headband if Grealish's headband gets a bit too sweaty. He could bring on Grealish new shin pads if his small ones get lost in the pitch. I don't know. He'd be a nice little assistant for Grealish. Basically, is what I'm saying. But anyway, Manchester Evening News. Man City will have no obstacles should they decide to try and sign Kylian Mbappe next year. Basically, what this leads me to believe about Mbappe is nobody fucking wants the geezer. Yeah, I think all the club owners around the world and managers around the world will admit that this guy has talent beyond normal measures. Yeah, he's an extremely talented extremely accomplished player. Obviously, World Cup winner at 18, 19 years old. Top player, but the fact that City have no obstacles, if Manchester Evening News report is accurate, it basically means Madrid have said, nah, you know what, you had your chance, big man, you're not becoming a Los Blanco. PSG are probably at this point like, you know, fuck this kid, he's just caused us so many problems over the last 12 to 18 months, we're not arsed anymore, you know what, give us our shares in the club back and you fuck off to wherever you want. Liverpool obviously would be, I think Klopp's Liverpool, in terms of football and tactics, it suits Mbappe down to the ground. Will John Henry and FSG shell out anywhere near what Mbappe wants? No, absolutely fucking not. Will they pay his buyout clause or whatever, or what it will cost to get him from PSG first of all to Liverpool? No. Will they pay his extortionate wages? Not a fucking chance will they do that. Will Manchester City do it? Now is what we're going to move on to. I think, right, I have a theory on this. If Manchester City... If Mbappe wasn't such a dickhead, if he wasn't such a fucking,
if he wasn't a prick, right?
If Mbappe wasn't such a mug, yeah, I think City would be all over this. I think they'd be saying, similarly to what it was with Haaland, yes, he'd probably annihilate our wage structure, which we do hold so sacredly, but a lot of his wages would pay for themselves. We saw what the shirt sales did for Haaland. We sold more Haaland shirts in July and August this year than we sold City shirts in the whole of the last season. If you think Haaland's going to do that, Mbappe's going to do something similar, if not more. Mbappe's a bigger brand than Haaland again. So, with that said, would he also play good for us? Would he score a lot of goals? Mbappe would be phenomenal under Pep Guardiola. But that's all putting aside the personality and the dickhead I'm on about. You have to take it. You have to take into account what the person is like. Do you know what I mean? We know from watching all the documentaries done about City, the two series of Together, the All or Nothing documentary, that any insight we got to how Manchester City scout players, and one of the first things they look at is the personality of the player. Is what is this person like? What will they be like around the dressing room? What influence will they have? What ego do they have? There's nobody in world football right now. There's nobody, not even big old Ronaldo, has as big an ego as Kylian Mbappe. So do we want Kylian Mbappe to come in and absolutely destroy the dynamic of our dressing room with his big ego? He'll come in and go, yeah, see your 15 club CFG. It's mine now, yeah? You give me those clubs, they're mine, yeah? And I want all the money that comes with it. I'll decide if we get Bellingham. I'll decide if Haaland plays. This is my club now. Does Sheikh Mansour and Khaldoon want that? No, they don't. Kylian Mbappe, super player, dickhead. What are we saying?
I think, one, not going to happen. Absolutely not going to happen, right? 0 chance, 0% chance, whatever. Two, if it was to happen, I'm more than happy because let's say if it happens, ideal world if it happens, he will have, they will have, ran the right kind of, I say character study, I don't know, background research. They'd have run all the stuff, like you said, they run the stuff with the personal details to know that this can work out, this has the capacity to work out. You have the greatest coach of all time, some might say, in there, who is able to get those egos down. The only person I've actually seen the ego thing fail with is Leroy Sané, and he is also a bit of a knobhead.
I like Leroy.
Fucking absolutely fantastic player, absolutely fantastic footballer, and I take him back. I take his football ability back in a heartbeat. But
I bet he wishes he could take his ACL back.
Fucking hell, I do not endorse that. Murray might. But no, realistically, let's just say if this is to happen, then the club have obviously deemed it the correct path to move forward with, and I'm fine with it. But if it comes down to me at this moment in time, I look at his football ability and say he's unbelievable. But do you really want that dickhead? Do you really want the dickhead to come in and say, "Oh well, I want to run this club. I'm your GM here, GM Mbappe"? Not a fucking chance, and that'll never happen. Do you know why? Because we are not a stupid football club. We are not run by idiots. We see clearly that this project is much bigger than one player. PSG didn't see that. PSG sunk everything into Mbappe. Just want to turn around about 4 months later and call them dickheads himself. He's turned around and said, "I don't want to play here. I want to go." You ruined your chance, mate. You wanted to be a Galactico, and you took the money. You took your about $1.5 million a week. You took your shares in PSG. You took the lifestyle. You didn't pick the footballing reason. That's fucked you. No, we did pick the footballing reasons. Who picked footballing reasons?
Haaland.
Erling Braut Haaland took the footballing thing. He didn't get blinded by the bright lights of Madrid. He came. He's playing football now consistently for it is one of the best teams in the world. He has scored 16 got how many goals he scored? 15, I think.
20 in all competitions.
20 goals in all competitions. And it's mid-October. Mbappe's not doing that, I'm afraid. Mbappe's not doing that because he took the money, he took the lights. Kylian Mbappe, I think, might be the only person that ever complained about playing in the front three with Messi and Neymar. That is crazy. You are playing with the greatest of all time and one of the best Brazilian players of all time. Grow up, you fucking pleb. Sorry, I'll leave it there.
Grizz Khan in the building. My brother Grizz Khan, love my little bro Huey. I don't know if that's a cheeky remark, Grizz, but it's good to see you, my friend.
It's strange that this is the game you came in for, isn't it?
No, listen, I had a great show with Grizz tonight. I really enjoyed the conversations myself and Grizz, and he has every right to be buzzing because if we had beaten them 1-0 yesterday, the chest I would have come on with last night or on tonight's show in the Big Six would have been like, if you thought I was bad last week, Grizz, with the confidence and arrogance, I suppose, going into the game, I would have been awful tonight. But listen, I enjoyed tonight's show and I agree with almost everything you said. Salah world class. I don't know. That was a good conversation though. One of people saying in the building, the family man, big up Grizz. That's it, Dan. I'll show some love to Grizz, people. If you aren't subscribed to Grizz already, go and show love to him. He's always streaming great shows, and I'm on his channel sometimes as well, so you might catch me there. Big up Grizz. Felipe says Pep would straighten his ego out stat. Believe me, if he doesn't behave, he warms the bench permanently. That's how Pep rolls. I also think there's a huge amount of truth to, I don't think Mbappe would actually come to Manchester City for one of those reasons. I think Mbappe would look at Pep as far too much of a dominating figure. We know Mbappe, like I said, likes to call the shots. I said it a second ago. If Mbappe came to City, he'll very quickly start saying, yeah, man, this is my club now. I run this shit. Erling, you've done a good job. Step aside, little bro. It's my thing now. I'm the main man here. Give me the captain's armband, Gundo, while you're at it. Kylian Mbappe is Manchester City. We don't want that. I don't think Mbappe would come because he'd think he knows Pep Guardiola will say, mate, stop acting the bollocks. You're like, you're not playing for me. You're not. If you're gonna act like this, you're not playing, kind of thing. It's not a good fit, Mbappe and City. But I think Manchester Evening News, when they say there's no obstacle for Manchester City to get him, it's probably true. If City wanted Mbappe, we could go and get him in January. He wants out of PSG, where the perfect setup for him to win trophies. But I just think the personality clashes there they're too big. They're too big, the clashes, and the fact there is no obstacles just shows Madrid, like I said, they've wiped their hands of Mbappe. They don't want Mbappe. They said you had your chance. When Madrid come calling once, if you say no, you might get a second bite. You're definitely not getting a third bite. That's that. You know, Madrid hold themselves in really high esteem. They're a really proud club, and probably deservedly so because of their success. They're not fucking around with kids who are going to take the piss out of them and use them for higher salaries, which is what Mbappe did. Something wrong?
No. I just looking, I saw 48 people here, and we also got an ad on the stream, which is pretty cool. It's very rare. I click on them.
Listen, like I said, 48 people here. Smash the like button if you would, please. We're massively, we massively appreciate that. We're about 80 subs away from 4K. Would love to hit 4K as soon as possible. If you would help us on that journey, you are a legend. So smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and hopefully we can get to 4K soon. A lot of love for Grizz in the chat there. I'm glad to see that. Big up, Grizz. Realistically, who else can afford him except PSG and Man City? Well, that's the thing. He's kind of priced himself, and PSG have priced him out of any real moves, haven't they?
Newcastle.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. The only club I can think of right now that might jump for Mbappe, I don't think he'll jump for them, that might jump for Mbappe, it's fucking Newcastle, people. They have the money, they have the resources. I don't think they're actually allowed to spend that money, but just hypothetically, they'd want to make a statement. They would want to show the football world we mean business. We want to be a big thing moving forward. get in the Mbappe kid. They might spend the money if they were allowed, but obviously financial fair play won't allow them. I don't think he'd go there either because they don't have the pedigree and they don't have the near trajectory to win trophies. Joe, you tell me about Kylian Mbappe. Obviously, he's a player I rated so highly for so long. I still do as a footballer, but he's just gone down in my estimations with him being such a dickhead.
Say the line, please. Say the line. Mbappe to St. James's Park. Come on, do the accent.
Kylian Mbappe is coming to St. James's Park. St. James's Park and Kylian Mbappe.
Shoot me chest.
He's going to eat pie and mash in St. James's Park and he's going to go on a night out in Bijou. Why
I won't mind, right? Newcastle have the history and the stadium and the finances. They just currently don't have the ability to spend the money or the competitions that the man wants to play in. Or the squad, really. I mean, they still play the Longstaff brothers. I kind of just agree. Like, Mbappe is one of the most talented footballers that I have ever seen for his age. But he looks like a man who has never been told no or been told that he can't get his way. He is so entitled. He's one of the most entitled players I think I've also ever seen. His ego warrants a career like that of Ronaldo or Messi. You know, Ballon d'Ors, Champions Leagues. You know, he's won a World Cup. He has that international tournament under his belt, but he hasn't won a Ballon d'Or. He hasn't done anything in Europe. He got to a final and they all froze it over at PSG and they lost it. They got to a semi-final, we bounced them.
Do you think his ego might be too much too soon? Winning the World Cup at 18, 19, was it too much success for him too soon? Being the main man in that team as well, do you think it just inflated his ego prematurely? Way too much?
Yeah, because by the time he was, when did he how old was he when he joined PSG? 17? Something like that. 17. They paid like 130 million euros for him at 17. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. That is flat out unbelievable. Like, it was breaking records. I get it. He's a fantastic player. I mean, they got around the FFP rules by getting Neymar in for 200 and only loaning Mbappe in for a season and then paying the money afterwards. That's how they got around that. But it's unbelievable. The man won a World Cup, and then obviously the rumours of Real Madrid are always going to come because they will always, until the end of time, they will always be linked to the best of the best in world football. That will just happen. It doesn't matter whether they're obtainable or not. If you are playing well, you will be linked to Real Madrid or Barcelona. That's just how football works. And it got to his head. He's like, listen, I kind of want to go here. Benzema, my France teammate, he plays over there. You know, Real Madrid, they actually win European Cups. You know, you ain't done that for me. And then he just does a massive U-turn because PSG just, you know, blank checkbook. They go, listen, mate, you write as many zeros as you want on this piece of paper and we'll give it to you. And he goes, oh, really? Well, can you do a bit more? Can you go and sign a few players? You know, can you maybe play me in this way? Can you get this manager? You know, there was that thing saying they offered him lots of promises, and one of them was like signing Bernardo Silva and signing a few other players and playing him on the left. He doesn't want to play through the middle as a striker. He doesn't want to play as a number 9. That's where the infamous pivot gang came out on his Instagram story after a game which they drew 0-0, where he was unhappy because he doesn't feel like he should be playing through the middle. He doesn't want to play there. But it's like, big man, you're playing with two of the best wide players, positionally, Messi, Neymar, wide players. You're playing with two of the best wide players the game's ever seen. You are going to have to sacrifice and play through the middle. You started your career as a wide player. When he came to PSG, played through the middle. I don't understand this guy's problem. The man is unbelievably egotistical. Like, I understand the point of people saying that Pep would tone it in, you'd bring him down to earth. Would he? Would he really? I think Mbappe is too far gone for anyone to turn his head and go, listen, mate, you're a footballer, just get on with your job. He's too far gone for that. His head is in a different stratosphere. His head, he's gone. He's completely gone. It's not going to ruin his career because he's far, far too good to let that happen. But in terms of future prospects, if he has any aspirations, if he still wants to play for Real Madrid, which he probably still does, that's not going to happen. They're not going to take him when his head is the size of a fucking blimp. They're not going to take him. They're not going to bother. They're going to go, you know what? We'll stay clear. We'll sign someone else. You know, we've got other options. You know, we'll go for Haaland when his release clause kicks in. That's again bringing that one back. That's talk of the town, isn't it? They're not going to go back in for Mbappe and go, we'll give you $1 million a week and essentially let you run the club. Like, they've given him keys to the city, given him keys to the club. He can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, throw his arms about, not try, and it doesn't matter because he's on extortionate money and they can't really afford to get rid of him because no one else wants him anyway.
The best thing to happen to Kylian Mbappe would be for PSG to drop him, for the manager, his name slips my mind, the PSG to say, you're not playing. And then for Mbappe to start looking for other clubs actively, and all the clubs do what Real Madrid did and say, nah, we don't want anymore. Just to humble him, aggressively humble him, make him realise that he's not bigger than any of these clubs, and he won't be bigger than these clubs. He just needs a bit of humble pie, Kylian Mbappe, I think would be the best thing for him. But how they go about that, I don't know, because he seems to have too much power where he is right now. PSG need to make a serious decision on that guy, how they want to approach his situation. It's a really tough one. What are people saying? Hugh, we don't need Mbappe. His wages and attitude alone are cause for concern. That's the thing. I don't think City will go for it. Maybe not because of the wages, but because of his attitude. I think the wages definitely. I'm downplaying that a little bit. The wages definitely are an issue. I don't think they go for what he's on right now. But I think if City identified him as someone that would be a great fit for us in terms of personality and stylistically, they'd probably push the boat on the wages and offer him similar to Haaland, maybe slightly more, make him the highest paid player. But what won't push City to do that is the fact that he's a dickhead. João Felix is a very good player, but would not take him at Man City. We don't need João Felix. We don't need him. I mean, we have Julian Alvarez who can do what Felix can do. We have Haaland playing as a natural striker. There's no room for Felix. Very good player. I just think that boat is gone. I think if we were to ever get Felix, it would have been in the last 24 months if we wanted to really pursue that sort of false nine thing more. That winger that Manchester City should take is I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that. It's the fella from Napoli. I think he's from Georgia.
Oh, he's a fucking beast, him. He's so good.
Anyway, and people are calling for Rafael Leao as well. I've seen Leao properly for the first time recently. I think against Chelsea, both those games. He's dynamite. He's dynamite. Leao is a sicko. I'd have a bit of Leao. The thing is with Mahrez wants to finish his career at City, doesn't he? Whether City would allow that is one thing.
That's too fucking bad, mate. I want to win the lottery. It doesn't fucking matter.
I want a 12-inch penis.
Okay, right.
We're tiny down there. That's all around that conversation.
Technically, Big up Cambo, he says, technically this is PSG's fault for spoiling him too much. Yeah, PSG have fueled the beast. They've built this Frankenstein in Kylian Mbappe and made him this animal in terms of personality. Attitude would be a cancer for the dressing room. We don't need the attitude. I think Haaland is as much of an ego as we will accept right now. Haaland is the perfect balance of ego, arrogance, and humbleness. I think he's what all top strikers need to have, a little bit of arrogance and just back himself to the ground, but also understands that, you know, he's 22 years old. He still needs to learn a lot about the game, and Pep Guardiola is probably the best man in the world to do that for him right now. We don't need any more egos. We don't need Mbappe coming in going, this is mine now, lads. You're playing. You're not playing. You're playing here. I'm playing there. Pep, you're up in the stands, mate. I'll be doing the touchline and I'll be scoring the goals. We don't need that. Yeah, we don't need that.
Mbappe, team talk.
Yeah, we don't need Mbappe coming in because upsetting my guy Jack Grealish. You know what I mean? We all know Jack Grealish is the top dog in the dressing room. Let's keep it that way. Man City and PSG are not the same. We are run completely different. That's it, man. That's it. The Qatari owners of PSG, they have one way of operating. We have another. And for us, it seems to be working just fine. For them, it seems to be working just fine. Both of us in the same boat. Neither of us have won a European Cup. Let's see who gets there first.
We both run on oil and have 0 European Cups. We're the two irritating twins.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Appreciate us for what we do. But listen, we said we'd come on and do about an hour stream now. We went over the Liverpool game a bit. I'm sick talking about that game now. I did 6 previews. I did a pretty intense sort of review with Grizz and the lads on the Big Six tonight. And you know what? It is what it is, people. We take that loss on the chin. We've got Brighton next. It's a massive, massive game for us now. It's so important we bounce back and beat Brighton and perform well. You know, it's not just about winning and getting 3 points, even though that's the main thing. You want to perform well as well and show that it hasn't upset us too much. The Mbappe thing, for me, lads, the final word on Mbappe, yes or no? Would we take him?
No. No.
In a certain set of circumstances, yes, but ultimately,
in the most unbelievable turnaround of egos that I might have ever seen, yes. Otherwise, no.
If Mbappe came out and said, right, I want to come to Manchester City, yeah, I will cut my wages into a third, and I just want basically the same or similar to Haaland. I won't call any shots. I want to learn. I want to play under Pep. I want to play with De Bruyne. I want to change my whole thoughts, my whole thought process in football. I want to prove I'm not the arrogant prick that people think I am. I'd say, you know what, big up Mbappe. No, you're all right.
Go prove you're not this
Take it
arrogant
no
twat elsewhere. Go and prove it elsewhere. We don't want your services.
No, if he did do that, then I'd say, okay,
about
right,
it.
we can think, I'll think about it. But as of right now, Mbappe,
You making the decisions, Murray, isn't it?
listen, Manchester City fans should be very fucking grateful I'm not making the decisions. Because if I was making the decisions, Jack Grealish would have that captain's armband, yeah? But that's just me. Don't worry about me. You should all count yourselves lucky I'm not. I'm just an idiot with a camera and a microphone who likes to promote Grealish propaganda and talk about City in a biased way. Listen, lads, we're going to wrap it up. There's still 40 people in the building right now. Thank you so much to everyone who came in. Tomorrow is Tuesday. We have no midweek game this week. It was meant to be Arsenal, but that got postponed because of Arsenal's commitments in the Europa League. We'll probably come back, I don't know, tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll just chat football, chat about City, whatever's going on in the world of City. We might get a collaboration this week, might get Daps back. Maybe Grizz, if he's still there, if he wants to come on and talk about the Liverpool game, we can do that as well in a more calm environment than it was in the Big Six, because we can get our points across a bit better. I don't know. If you want to see anybody in particular coming on to the channel, people, let us know. Make sure to follow us on social media as well. All the ads are there on screen right now. Keep hitting the likes on the streams. Honestly, for everyone who supports us on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, who comes in and gets involved in the streams, thank you so much. I love reading all your chats as always. To what's his name again, the guy who gave the super chat, Super City Saint, or yeah, thank you for the super chats. Honestly, it means the world. We really appreciate all the love from everyone, and we'll see you either tomorrow or Wednesday with the three of us, the three usual boys, maybe a collab. We'll be innovative people. We'll come up with some ideas, and we'll always talk Sitsa. Good night and God bless. Joey boy, wrap her up.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand.